Hello everyone and welcome to today's Banter Blitz with me, Anna aka Miss Strategy. Good news for today is that since the last session was my worst ever Banter Blitz and probably my worst ever chess in my entire career, today it can only go better. Today it can only go better because we have been to hell. We have seen the downside, my worst chess, my worst Banter Blitz show for sure. I hope it was still entertaining to watch, but it wasn't so entertaining to play. Anyway, as I said, I'm optimistic because it can only be better today. Let me know how are you doing, and if you have been following the Chess Olympiad, so many surprising results again. Wow, I don't know who is going to win. I really thought the US was doing very well to defend their title, but after today, it's wide open. Poland upsetting the US. Incredible stuff. Let me know in the chat what you think about it, and also in the YouTube comments if you're following the Chess Olympiad. Also, election day today. I'm not going to comment on the politics because I prefer to stay away from politics, but feel free to express your views in the comments or in the chat right now here on Chess24. So talk about it with your fellow chess friends if you would like to, and I shall go and accept the first challenge after I say goodbye to Claudia. Claudia, it's been a pleasure. As usual, you're my favorite opponent, but I never finish the games against you. How's everyone doing? I'm looking at the chat, so I will pay attention to that as well. But as you know, my Banter Blitz shows about chess. I will try to be as instructive as possible. Challenge me with increment though. I see challenges without increment, and that I cannot accept because I am slow and I like to talk. So the combination of the two makes me want to play increment. With incremented games. Hein Mintun, welcome to the show, and it's an honor to play against you as soon as you make your first move. I hope that you are here with us, and you're here, awesome. So I can go and respond to your d4 with knight f6. I'm going to go for a Nimzo Indian or Queen's Indian, Nimzo Indian. There are so many variations against Queen c2. You can castle, play d5, or later with c5, b6. Many different setups. You can choose the one you like the most. I usually play with d5 and castle, although I don't play the Nimzo anymore much. I switched to 1 d5 and Queen's Gambit declined. I'm just going for the Nimzo Indian mainly in the Banter Blitz shows and on my Twitch channel. Which means that I don't remember anymore how was this variation. I feel like there was one with the capture and b6. Hope I'm right. But as you know, openings are not my strength. It has never been my strength, even when I competed as part of the Olympic team. So I could be now in Batumi, but I didn't go. I'm a retired player, so I did not accept the invitation, although it was very flattering. It was very nice to be asked to play, but after some consideration and also thinking of how much work I have outside chess too, so I have my chess career in the chess media and I'm working on another project that is not chess related, the combination of the two made me realize that as a retired player plus having two jobs, I think it was the right decision not to play the Batumi Chess Olympiad, even though the Chess Olympiads are my all-time favorite event. So it's a pity that I'm not there. I feel like I wish I was there. At the same time, I know if I went, I would have been a reporter or commentator. I would have been part of the media team. A player, I'm not a player anymore. So I'm rooting for the Hungarian teams, of course, and the Spanish teams because that's where I live. I'm rooting for both the Hungarian and the Spanish teams. I'm gonna attack the queen and I just want him to take on c4 with the queen and not the bishop. And the knight is well placed on e4. So I'm going to be talking about the game because I know that that's what you guys want. I just wanted to mention in brackets the Chess Olympiad since that's the big event going on right now in Georgia. And I'm so happy that the main commentator is the one and only Miss Tactics, my other half, and the other day when she was not commentating, that was for a special reason, and that special reason was having the Polgar sisters, Judith, Sophie, and Susan, the three of them in the commentary booth in Batumi. I thought that was impressive. to have the legendary Polgar sisters covering the chess Olympiad. Did you guys follow that round? Did you see it? Because I was honestly impressed. And also the very same day, Magnus Carlsen called in the Spanish broadcast. So he called in and he was on air for quite a while talking about the matches, talking about whether he's afraid of losing his number one spot to Fabi, for instance, his opponents at the World Championship match, and Shaq, who has been doing very well until he lost to Fabi. Plus Ding Liren is also on fire. So many players doing very well in the Chess Olympiad and others suffering. So do let me know about your opinion. B4, interesting, because I would like to play c5 in the future. I don't think white has time to take on c7. I would be happy if he takes my pawn now, because that means he's not developing. He's grabbing a pawn, but I would bring my rook to c5 with a tempo. And his king on f1, well, it's gonna take some time until he can artificially castle. King e2, rook move, and then king back to f1. Otherwise it would be g3, king g2, but I don't think he can play with g3 with the knight hanging on f3. I could go for a discovered attack, knight jumping away, and the f3 knight would be hanging. So imagine g3, knight takes g3, and then queen takes f3, winning the piece back. He wants to push the b pawn and attack my rook. That is a possibility, but I want to conquer the c file anyway, so I'm going to play rook fc8, and my next move, if he doesn't do anything, is c5. That is my idea. I've done a lot of episodes on the middle game shows, but that was, when was that? A year and a half or 2 years ago. And I've covered most of the topics that I wanted to cover. I don't know if I will bring it back later, because now I've been asked to do more of Banter Blitz shows, so you guys can play against me. It's a different type of show. I might bring it back in the future, I don't know. But for the moment, you can check them on YouTube, on Chess24's YouTube channel. So many different strategic topics covered, like the isolated pawn, hanging pawns, how to play with material imbalance, and so on, what to do against the king in the middle of the board. King in the middle of the board, mentioning that I need to open the position so that I can exploit this king in the middle of the board. That's what I teach in my middle game show. It is one of the many episodes on YouTube that you can find. So yeah, I shall do what I preach, right? Okay, in this position, if I take, he will capture on c8 and I get back rank mated, so that is not a good option for me, but I can play c4 and get a pass pawn. Next move could be c3, and my knight is supporting this c pass pawn, so I like my chances here a lot. Shall I push immediately? Yeah, I like this move. I kind of like this move, supported by the knight. Don't fall on me. I always manage to work against gravity. I either hit the flashlight, just there, I have this ring light in front of me, and I either bump into it or it just simply starts falling. I don't want it to fall on my head. It wouldn't be a great show. Why did I give up the Nimso for the Queen's Gambit declined? Just stylistic reasons. I think I like more the Queen's Gambit declined, but it's very subjective which one you prefer. And in Banter Blitz, I think it's more exciting to play the Nimso. It's not a symmetrical position as in the Queen's Gambit declined. So I think for a show, it's better to play the Nimso. And when I competed, I did switch to the Queen's Gambit declined. I'm looking at this pawn on a5 because I'm a pawn grabber. Why is he giving me that pawn? Because the knight is hanging. All right, Anna, wake up. Wake up. So instead of blundering my knight, I'm just going to defend it. I think that is a great idea, to defend a piece that was only protected by the queen, and I want to move the queen away, so I'm now threatening to take the pawn, or simply play rook a b8. I have more time on the clock. I don't know how on earth is that possible. I don't know. The only problem with knight d2 f6 is that I'm allowing this jump to e5, knight to e5, but his king side is not very safe. Yeah, so he's afraid. In case of, I was threatening knight g4, for instance, attacking the f2 pawn. Now, after this move, I can just simply take the pawn, and I think I'm going to take the pawn. Maybe I could play differently too, but it's a free pawn. And I like free stuffs a lot. If you follow me on Twitch, you know that I have an emote for free stuffs. And this is certainly free. I'm looking at queen b2 or a5. That's also an attractive move. If he takes on f6, nothing happens, so I'm just gonna push this guy. Because that's my other pass pawn. I have 2 pass pawns on the queen side. And you know what you should do with pass pawns, right? Push them. Or as Yasser Sarvan would sing, push him baby. If you know the chess bra hit, look it up on YouTube if you haven't seen it yet. f3, knight d2, I'm okay with that. a4, I'm gonna play. And if rook b1, I just move the queen. I'm almost trapped with the queen though. I can go back to d5. It's okay, Anna. It's okay still. Queen e8 is also a possibility, but I feel like it's a little too passive. Although it would hide my queen from potential attacks. So f3, knight d2. If rook b1, I'm moving the queen to d5. f3 there, knight d2. e4, I can take on d4. So I have some squares. If f3, I move the knight and then he takes on f6, he can destroy my pawn structure in front of the king. But he only has the knight on e5 as an attacking piece, so I'm not very scared about this. He can take now, g takes f6. My king is slightly weakened, but the knight has to go away from e5, and the queen on c2 is not so attacking, so my king is safe so far. Unless it's bishop takes, bishop takes, g takes, knight takes f7, piece sacrifice, so that when I go king f7, queen takes h7, woo! Oh, that might work. That might work because he either has perpetual or I need to go all the way to d6 with the king. But I might be safe on d6. I might be safe on d6. So if he cannot give perpetual, then I'm gonna be okay because the knight on d2 is preventing him from rook b1. He cannot bring more than one attacking piece. It would only be the queen, and one queen is not gonna give me mate. What is that mysterious move about? He wants to bring the other rook? I'm not sure I understand this move fully. So I'm going to play queen b2 because in general I just want to trade queens and promote my pawns. I want to play an endgame. Queen d3 I'm expecting because I think he should try to keep the queens on the board. Queen d3, but then I go c2, queen takes d2. Don't sacrifice your piece yet. Queen d3, knight b3, rook b1. Okay, he wants to trade. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And now let's push this one back to a2. Oh, if I push it might be too early. I might blunder my pawn. Let's bring this knight. It's always good to have more pieces supporting your pawns. Yeah, so a3, rook a2 would have been still premature. I didn't have a good defense there. What was the move? Bishop c5. I thought it was a glitch. I didn't see for a moment. a3, rook a2 is still the thing. So, and he's threatening e4 and then take on c3. That is a bit unpleasant. Let's attack his bishop, but then still e4. What's going on? Okay, Anna, be smart. Do I still have a way out of this? Well, can I still keep somehow the pawn? Takes. Okay, maybe I shouldn't hold on to the pawn. I'm just gonna go for the bishop. If e4, I'll take on c5. He takes back. I play knight b4. Rook takes c3. And there. Okay, he's not doing that. Interesting. But now I can just come back here, attack the d4 pawn. He has a pass pawn if he pushes d6, but I should still be winning this. I have 2 pass pawns. Knight takes d4 is a threat, a3 is a threat. a3, a2 is my biggest threat actually. Not going for the pawn. Or taking and then c2. Both. Ooh. Yeah, I think... Well, what's going on? Okay, knight e7 fork is a threat here. I can prevent it by coming here. d6 next. No, d6 he can't play because... Now he wants to take on c3. Alright, I got it. Wait a second. Anyway, I'm gonna come here and if rook takes c3, I take on d4. It's a pin. Alright, I'm gonna take this. Oh no, why I would take it when I have a fork? Much stronger, right? Much stronger. Gonna take this too, then push the a pawn. I almost did not see the fork. It's funny because I was so ready to exchange knights that I didn't look at the fork opportunity. That's the thing with having a move on your mind. In this position, I just want to show you so that it's instructive. Having thought about what you want to do next, so in this position, I was pretty sure that my next move would be knight takes c6 to trade the knight and push my a pawn. But after each and every move of your opponent, you should check what has changed. And what changed here was that that rook used to defend the e2 square, and knight's not defending it anymore. So instead of going for the auto response, just like in your mailbox, it's not very good to go for the auto response. You should be personal, you should read the email first and then respond. So here too, reading the email means reading the situation. The new situation has left the e2 square unprotected. So I have this majestic fork, 2 rooks and the king, and the position is winning. Earlier on, I thought, I'm just going to show you the end because it was exciting still. Black should be winning, but Heinmintun, you fought very well, so congratulations, you fought very hard. And I thought here, bishop c5 is a good move, it's a strong move, threatening to go e4, chase my knight away, then you can take the c3 pawn. So bishop c5 is a very good move. I played knight b3 because I think this should be my best response. And after e4, I was telling you guys that my idea is knight takes c5, and if he takes back, now my knight is hanging, so I gotta move somewhere. I was going to play knight b4. He takes the pawn, so he wins back the pawn, rook takes c3, but I think I should be still doing very well after a3. Maybe he's not winning anymore, because he can try to block it. Rook a1, I play a2, but if anyone has winning chances here, it's black, because my pawn is already on a2, and this rook from a1 is not coming out. But he can try to fight. Not easy though. You can't play rook b3 because of knight c2. Maybe rook c4 to try to attack this knight. Well, I would not move the knight away, I think. I would rather move the rook. If rook a4, I feel like that pin, knight d3. I don't want to be pinned. Although I have some tricks sometimes, but no, this is not the moment to get self-pinned. Rook a b8 could be a move. But now it's equal material and I still need to work to get the blockade away from the a1 square, this blockading rook. So maybe this was okay. Maybe this was okay for white, for defending the position. So after knight takes c5, Heinmintun, I'm recommending to you that you, instead of taking on d5, you should take the other knight, which means that you're still attacking my d5 knight. So it's a tempo. That's a big difference. If you take on d5, yes, it's true that this knight is hanging, but it's much more useful for me to move this knight because that allows me to protect the c3 pawn. If my other knight is hanging, that is the piece that's been protecting my pawn. I don't have time to take on c5. I need to move the rook. I need to move the knight, sorry. So I need to move this knight and you win the pawn back. It was a good fight. I think you defended very well, except for this very crucial moment, where I believe you have the chance of maybe defending this endgame. And earlier on, I would just suggest not to give me free stuff, because I love free pawns. c3, a5, I can't take it immediately, so it's a tricky move. I almost stepped into it. Knight on e4 hanging, but I'm not having my worst day. I already had that last week, so don't worry, I'm back. So knight d6, defending the knight, and now I'm threatening to capture the pawn. You were afraid of knight g4, and I understand why. The f2 pawn is hanging, so I think here it's already bad for white actually, because I'm threatening knight g4 and I'm threatening queen takes a5. My conclusion: you shouldn't push a5. Actually, I don't know why you pushed a5, so I don't really see. Even if I don't win that pawn, I don't see what do you gain by pushing your pawn to a5. I think it's only a weakness. Maybe you were scared of knight b6, knight c4. That could explain why you want to play a5, but still, maybe first a move like h3 if you want to make sure that your king is safe. King g1 in the future, because it's a bit weird on f1. I always have checks. Not working at the moment, but You should always watch out with this king on f1. So prophylactic moves, probably h3, not a5. That's just vulnerable. Thank you everyone here in the chat. I'm very glad that you guys are having a great time. And I shall go for the next game, I think. I shall go for the next game. Challenge me with increment, please. You know that I would love to talk through the game and explain to you my thinking process. I'm trying to go for users that I haven't seen yet. And also, premium members always get priority. So that you should know. Don't challenge me for custom games though, because I don't really know what game you are challenging me for. I see many custom challenges, and the other day I played something super weird. I didn't even know what chess variant I was playing. So maybe just a normal game? Could that be the case? Frida, I think we haven't played that, so I'm accepting your challenge. And I'm an e4 player. The Sicilian, let's see which variant. Which line of the Sicilian? I think you will go for the... Whoa, first pre-move of the day. I shall celebrate, I think. The Rudolf. And if you have seen Sopika's video series, I'm in trouble, because that's the best video series you can find on the Rudolf here on Chess24. B5 though is not the move. It's usually E5 or E6. So this must be a sideline. You want to play B4 and take my pawn on E4. I don't believe that you can be that brave. I'm gonna castle. Maybe bishop b7 then. Bishop f3, b4, knight d5. What's that position? I don't know. I just feel like I should go for the development if you are this aggressive. So now I think I shall defend it with bishop to f3 or bishop to d3. I like more bishop f3 because after b4 I can jump to d5. It's a protected piece now on d5. Maybe this is okay to play. I just didn't know about this sideline. It might make perfect sense, especially now that I'm looking at this knight jumping to e5, attacking my bishop. So I should force issues. I think I should go for a4, ask about this pawn, and if b4, knight d5. Just let's see what's happening. It could be bishop takes and then knight e5, one option. But I always have knight c6 too, so I'd like my knight on d4 and the pawn on d5. His king is still in the middle of the board, so I think it's a good idea that he didn't take on d5. That's a good move, Friedel, I feel like. At the same time, I'm looking at tricks. I don't know... No, here I don't think it's gonna work just yet. But sometimes I should have e5. The bishop on b7 would be hanging. So if knight takes f6, do I have e5? He has to take the bishop on f3. I take with the queen. Takes my pawn on e5. Do I have something there? Queen c6 check. That looks promising, right? Or is just the pawn down? Okay, this is Banter Blitz. Let's go for it. And if e5, d takes e5, I take the bishop. I want to see. It's for fun. It's for fun. Normally not my style, but I should have pre-moved queen takes f3, right? It was my chance to pre-move it. I didn't. I did not. Okay, he is scared of queen c6 check, so he doesn't take my pawn, the one I have just sacrificed. I can take on d6, but that develops his bishop. So I'm looking for alternatives. Knight c6 moves the queen away. I can't take on b4. So I don't really see a way to exploit this just now, but I can simply develop. I can play rook d1, and this pawn on d6 is still vulnerable. I like his knight on d5. I think that's a good piece. I wish I could push c4 and chase it away. He takes now on e5, which is interesting. Oh, knight c6, queen c7. Yeah, maybe I was very optimistic to just give the pawn up so easily, because knight c6, queen c7, and I don't have a good jump with that knight. That's the problem. If I had somewhere to go or protect the c6 knight, I would like it, but having to go back to e2, no, that I don't like. Yeah, perhaps my sacrifice was a little too ambitious. Knight b3 or knight e2, none of them I really like. Oh my god, I don't even have time. So let's just make a move. Let's come here and hopefully later I can do something about the pin. c4. He's stepping out of it, that's smart. I should develop my pieces at least. If I don't have a position, let's at least develop. I'm very slow and I misplayed this I'm just a pawn down. If he finishes development, he will be more than fine here. I want to push this c pawn and try to do something. Try to get rid of the d5 knight, but I think this is not how I was supposed to play. If queen takes bishop c5, well, letting him develop with a tempo, but I didn't want to destroy my pawn structure, so that's why I did it. I'm just a pawn down. Still, I have some initiative, but I don't think it compensates. I don't think it should be enough compensation. Having said that, I'm going to take on b4 and then bring the rook to the c5. Bishop takes b4, rook a c1. So maybe I have just the moment when I said I didn't have enough. Now I have. Attack! 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 Okay, let's see. Do I have something concrete? Queen d3, he's going to castle. I don't have time. I clearly don't have time. Okay, this is all forcing. Next move could be queen c6 check. I just don't want him to castle. So this side, I managed to prevent him from castling, and now I'm threatening rook c8. I think I'm winning. I think I am winning. As I don't see a way for him to prevent it. It's either mate or I'm winning the queen. I'll need to show the game, and I need to look at it also because of me. Because I was feeling very confident about Black's position. I think you were doing very well. But then something happened. Thank you for the game, Friedel. Yes, here it's already a queen up, so you can play bishop f8, but the only factor that is okay for Black is the time situation, but with 22 seconds and a queen up, I believe I can win the game. Black cannot move his pieces, so it's not just the queen down, but that there's no compensation at all. The rook that you have for the queen is standing on h8. I think here perhaps the easiest for white is to just sacrifice the b pawn, b4, a takes b4, and I can catch this b pawn with the knight, so I'm just gonna be pushing my a pawn. This could have been one way to go. a7, a8, next move. I think this is the easiest way to win. Now, what went wrong? I played the opening terribly, so I think you chose very well the variation, because I didn't know much about this b5 line of the Najdorf. I should ask Sopika about it. And then what happened? I don't know what happened afterwards. You were doing so well. e5, I think maybe it was okay as an attempt, but it shouldn't be the best move. So my idea, if he takes on e5, I just wanted to play queen c6 check. The queen cannot prevent the check. It can't play queen d7 because the rook is hanging on a8. This is very typical. Now if he can't do that, king e6 is not the move you want to play. So the only move for Black is knight d7, and here I'm happy with the pawn down, I think, because I feel like I have compensation. I should move the knight, but after knight f3 I'm threatening knight takes e5, rook d1, and if he wants to chase away my queen, rook c8, then I'm taking the pawn. If queen c8, maybe queen c8 is the best move, should be the best move. I still feel like I have some compensation. Maybe it's not much. I just thought for fun it made sense to play like this. I'm threatening the pawn. So this, I think, was playable. What happened in the game maybe is not so playable, because after queen takes f3, knight d5, I played rook d1, which is slightly optimistic, maybe way too optimistic, because he can take my pawn now, and I don't have a good square for the knight. I wish I could jump to c6, but tell me, what do I do after queen c7? Because I didn't see a move here. I did not see a move here. And then it means that I'm in trouble. It means I'm in trouble if I have to go back to e2 or b3. I've just sacrificed the pawn. The d5 knight is a key piece in this position. It keeps together everything. If it was without these two knights, imagine only my rook on d1, protected by the f3 queen, so no e2 knight, no d5 knight. In that position, I'm more than happy to have a pawn down. But the knight on d5 is so strong, it protects all the key squares, also covers the d5, the only open file where I was going to attack. I think Black is more than fine here. I think you did very well, Frida. You played so well until this stage of the game, and also afterwards. I thought queen c7, going out of the pin, very well played. Rook a c8 also makes a lot of sense. Maybe you can simply, if you want to just go very solid and safe. You could have simply developed the bishop if you want to. Or take on e3 and then bishop c5. Sorry. Now I've just realized. I realized what was your thinking. So you want to take the bishop, but the rook on a8 is hanging. Good point. Good point, Friedel. Now I understand it. So you moved away the rook so that you could capture on e3. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Another option, as I was saying, was just to simply move the bishop, keep the knight, because it's a beautiful piece. I'm not sure I would have given it up for the bishop. But yeah, bishop e7 and castle, next move. I think your position is just great. As it happened in the game, rook c8, c3, I really need to try to open the position. So this is my only chance. And here you decided to take on e3, after which queen takes, bishop c5, queen e4, and a5. I think a5 could be the mistake, because then you gave me the initiative. So you should take on c3, even though it's not, you wanted to keep the space on the queen side, keep the pawn structure. If you take on c3, it's a tempo. And when you're undeveloped, it's all about tempi. So win a tempo by capturing. You win a tempo, I take back, probably with the knight, and you have time to castle. So this, you were just missing one tempo, lacking one tempo to finish development, and then you're still a pawn up. This bishop has a square on d4, now that you eliminated my c3 pawn. It's in a very nice position. I would try, of course, something on the c file, but I don't really believe that I have enough. So you should be more than fine here. I think that's it. Just a5 was a bit too slow, because your king is still in the middle of the board. It would be a good strategic move if you have already castled. But since you haven't finished development yet, you don't have time for this move, because I'm opening up the position for my pieces. If you take back with the a pawn, at least rook ac1 is not a tempo, so this could have been a possibility. But that gives me an a passed pawn. So here, I think this is already very double-edged. Not clear who's doing well here. But in the other option, what happened in that game is that everything goes with a tempo. So I think giving me the a passed pawn was still the less verse. Less verse, does that make even any sense in English? So it was the lesser of the bad choices that you had in that position, unfortunately, because this one, I think this one should be winning for white unless there's some defense, but you don't have a good square for the queen. Maybe one square though. There's one square. I haven't looked at this one. I was looking at queen d7 then queen a8. Any other queen move, but there's one square. I've just spotted one square, queen a6. Still is so suspicious. Could this hold? Can this hold? Prevents queen c6, prevents rook c8, prevents queen a8. So far all three squares are covered. I can try rook c6. If queen b7, rook takes e6 wins the queen. So yeah, it's just bad again. Queen a8, rook takes e6. No, it cannot work. White is winning in these positions, I think, always. It's the queen and the rook attacking, and the sole queen from c8 cannot protect everything. It's a pity because you played so well before. I think the last mistake was taking on b4 with the bishop. That's my take on this game. But still, very well played, and you really made me suffer in the middle game. So well done, Friedel. Good job. Gonna go for the next challenge. I think I should have time for 2 more games. Let's see who is my next opponent. I'm trying to look at usernames that I haven't seen lately, or I haven't seen at all. I'm trying to look for new people or people I haven't played against in the last couple of sessions. Challenge me with increment. I'm only going to accept challenges with increment, and premium members, of course, always get priority. Kleiner Meister, a small master. That's all I can understand with my basic German knowledge. And I am playing with the white pieces again. Today I don't play all games with white, but sometimes it's better. Because last week, I played all games with white, and still it was my worst ever day in my life in terms of chess. But here I am, doing much better than last week. So you see, you can recover from anything. If you are positive about learning, it's a learning experience. Alright, the open Spanish. That's why I normally play d3 earlier. So now I need to remember how was the variation exactly. It's d4, b5, bishop, b3, d5, then I take on e5. I used to study these lines, but that was long ago. So if you ask me how to play this properly, don't remember exactly. I know the setups, it's c3 and so on, but not move by move. Move by move I don't remember. So I'm making things up. Can I just, if I take on e4, what's that? No, it's not the right moment to take. I'm just gonna put more pressure on that knight. Let's pre-move, shall we? No, I didn't take on d2. Of course, knight c5 is better. I'm gonna keep this bishop. Often it's d4. Most of these variations in the open Spanish, black goes d4, wanna push d3 as well. Yeah, there we go. Now I can either take. Do I get anything there? Maybe nothing. Other option, preventing d3. But how do I prevent it? Knight e4, d3. Knight takes c5, d takes c2. What is that position? Queen takes d8. Rook takes d8. Knight takes e6. Takes back on e6, and his c2 pawn is still alive. If you guys managed to follow it, then you are very good at calculation. Well done. If you haven't managed to follow, don't worry. You just need to solve more tactics. That's it. It's just all about visualization. All in all, I don't think that's such a good move for me. So I'm gonna eliminate this pawn before it's too annoying. I'm gonna take here as well. Although I don't like the fact that his queen is coming. Yeah, I don't really like that. Knight takes, queen takes, knight f3, queen takes d1, rook takes d1. Maybe it's actually okay. Let's just see. Let's pre-move. Could be the second pre-move of the day. I feel like I'm on fire. Let's go. Pre-move. Rook takes d1. Take my queen. Take my queen. Yes! Yay! I've done it. Second pre-move of the day. Amazing stuff, guys. You know how a genius pre-mover I am. I'm so good at this, right? Bishop e3, rook takes d1, takes my a2 pawn. Is that possible that he just grabs that pawn and survives? Maybe I take on c5 and b3. I'm trapping the bishop, hopefully. It's necessary to know openings to some extent, but don't be obsessed with openings, because most games are decided in the middle game and end games. So I wouldn't focus too much on openings. You should have some opening knowledge and mainly understand the plans, the ideas of the opening you play. Don't memorize. Memorizing is never good. Never, ever, ever. So let's make a pre-move. Because I'm on fire. I'm telling you guys, I'm on fire. He would only take on d1 if he wants to grab the a2 pawn. That's the only reason I can say for this capture. Otherwise, it's not a good move. And even like this, I think that bishop should be trapped. So rook takes d1, bishop takes a2, bishop takes c5. I need to eliminate that knight. Okay, he's not going for it for obvious reasons. Knight a3, that weakens the b3 square, so I don't like that. I think instead I'm gonna go b3. That's a bit ugly though. I don't like ugly moves. Rook ac1, just giving up the pawn. Is that okay at all? Okay, let's claim I can do this, because the c5 knight sometimes is hanging and such, and I still want to trap the bishop with bishop takes and b3 if he takes on a2. I'm claiming now that I have something there. Maybe it's just a bluff. Maybe he can come out. He disconnected. Please come back. Kleiner Meister. I don't want to win by not finishing the game. So I hope that you are here. I hope that you are back. Okay, you are here with us. That's great. But now you are going to... Oh no, bishop takes, bishop e4 almost wins material, but you have rook takes d1 there in that position, saving the situation. So what shall I do to be tricky? How can I be tricky here? Certainly not by losing on time. Don't lose on time, Anna. Now maybe bishop takes a2, but then b3. I'm starting knight c6. I want to play knight c6 or knight takes e6. Those are the two moves I'm looking at. I'm really low on the clock. That is something that worries me, but I'm optimistic about my position. I like my position a lot. Knight c6 is a beautiful move, undermining the e7 bishop, which is protecting the c5 knight. So his position could collapse like a domino tower. Does it even make sense to build a tower from dominoes? No, maybe just dominoes standing next to one another. Okay, he has defended my idea. So now, what I'm gonna do? I'm not sure this b3 move was good at all, but I started panicking a little. No, this was not so good. Maybe with b4? My bishop on c2 is not good. I could have played bishop b1. I think bishop b1 was much better than b3. Yeah, what am I doing with this b3 move at all? Me not liking it. I'm just gonna drop back the bishop here. Much better. At least I have the c5. So b3, I think, was not a good move. Wasn't a good move. I can't play knight c6 though. I'm gonna trade. I wanna bring my king toward f2 and also just make sure that this diagonal is not too... yeah, c5, c4. That's good for black. Now I'm on the defensive side. Now I gotta be smart. Can I see this bishop endgame? Oh, I've just dropped the pawn. This is not a good bishop endgame. Ouch. The a2 pawn. He doesn't take it. Thank you. You are so kind. Why are you so kind to me? Oh, I pre-moved king e3. Queen of pre-move, blundering a piece. I'm gonna resign. I didn't take that into account. Oh no, oh no. Kleiner Meister, you were very kind for not taking my a2 pawn. That was a free thing. But this is why I never pre-move. I'm so bad at pre-moving. I pre-moved king e3. Because I expected him to move the king. But this is a thing you can never do. Pre-move only when the outcome is 100% sure. A capture, for instance. But here, bishop e7. Oh no, Kleiner Meister, you deserve to win. This is a pre-move disaster. I agree with you guys. Oh, goodness me. That's why I never pre-move. Bishop e7, king e3. Whoa, oh. Of course, after bishop e7, I should either move the bishop away or go for the king and pawn endgame. The king and pawn endgame, I think, by general principle, it should be good for black. Because he's got what we call an outside pass pawn. So I have my extra pawn. I have my extra pawns here. I would go... wait, maybe you should try with g5. No, not g5 I don't like. Simply b4 and a5. So I have my extra pawns here on the king side, but he's got outside pass pawns. I should try to push f5, but he can prevent f5. And that means that my king will be drawn to the queen side, a4, b3. Now, of course, this is not easy at all because my pawn on e5 is protected. If it wasn't protected, then it would be clear that black is winning. Since it is protected, I'm not so sure the way to play. He can still try. I'm just gonna make random moves with the white king. This is not how it should be played, but I want to show you. If black reaches a position where he sacrifices, he can give up the b pawn, perhaps, so it draws away the king from the center, and then g5 to undermine the e5 pawn. I think this would be a winning plan. f5 king takes, and so I get the b pawn, but he gets the e pawn, and that's why it's an outside pass pawn. And the reason why outside pass pawns are so crucial in endgames, in king and pawn endgames, it draws the king away like a magnet, and you get the chance to take the other pawn, and your king, the black king, is closer to the rest of the pawns. Although, still not over because the f5 pawn is protected, so black cannot just go and hunt down the pawns. Yeah, king and pawn endgames, with no time on the clock especially, are not so easy. But by general principle, I wouldn't have taken the bishop because I see those outside pass pawns, the potential outside pass pawn, the b pawn. So after bishop e7, not 7, so after bishop e7, I would have moved the bishop away. Probably, where would I have moved it? d4, is a square that's normal, but maybe I want that square for the king. So in that case, bishop b6, king f7, king e3, king e6, king d4. Hello, I've arrived. And this position, it is white who's playing for a win here. Now instead, I blunder the piece, and before that, bishop b4 was already a horrible move, bishop takes a2, and this is a completely winning endgame, I'm pretty sure, because I can't do anything about these 2 pawns. They march forward. Well played, Kleiner Meister. I shall go for my last game. of the day. But still, this is a much better session than last week. I'm happy. I mean, in terms of entertainment, maybe last week was also good. But the quality of play was outrageously bad. Mewtwo. Welcome to the show. I'm waiting for your first move. I hope that you are here. Are you here with us? e4. You guys know what I'm gonna do, right? Push that pawn with 1 square. The French defense. I'm so unpredictable. French defense has been my favorite opening for the past 10 years or so. Maybe even longer. I don't even know how long. I just love this defense. And I know it's not the best in terms of objectively speaking. Several variations end up being slightly worse for black. So in best case, I equalize. And often I suffer because I have this c8 bishop. But still, I like the complexity of these positions. I think these middle game positions are very rich. And that's why I play the French. This is a closed setup against the French, mostly known for being the King's Indian attack. And I normally play in a different way, so I shall think a little because this is not my normal setup. I'm gonna be improvising a little. I play with g6, bishop g7 so that I have something protecting my king. And d4 is a move that I might want to play later. Now, as in the French, so often, the c8 bishop still needs some development. b6, bishop b7 is an option. The most likely option. So I'm gonna go for it. I will not pre-move unless it's a capture. I think I have already played the pre-move card in a not 100% forced situation. And I was punished for it. So I'm not gonna play that card again today. Maybe next time. This is a very interesting pawn structure. For whom is it better is really difficult to tell. I feel like b3 gives me the option of going for a5, a4. And if he pushes a4, I have the b4 square for the knight. I'm telling you, I'm gonna jump there. And I'm putting pressure on the d3 pawn. Not so easy to attack it with another piece, but it allows me to have the diagonal of my bishop open. He might want to take on b4, eliminate this piece. Yeah, so he does. I can't take back with the c pawn, unfortunately. Or can I actually? C takes b4. Well, normally you wouldn't want to play it because it leaves the d4 pawn very weak. But if knight takes d4, I have queen c5, bishop takes b7, queen takes d4. I'm not very convinced. And even if he doesn't take immediately on d4, I'm not seeing why I want to have the d4 pawn vulnerable. So even if white could not take immediately, I didn't think that made so much sense for me to have a vulnerable d4 pawn. Having said that, now I should regroup my pieces. I think my least useful pieces are the d7 knight and the bishop on g7. What to do about them? Rook e8 and push the f-pawn at some point. That might be too weakening. Maneuver the knight towards c6 and a5. That's a possibility. Let's do that. It might be a bit too slow and passive, but the position is very closed, so I'm gonna go here. Knight a5 can be the next move, or simply I have improved the knight because it's on c6 now. He's doubling on the a5, which is a bit puzzling to me, because the a5 square has been protected forever by all the black pieces I have there on the queen side. Okay, he defends the pawn, very logical. Now, next step. Let's improve the bishop too, but how do I improve that bishop right now? No, I want to improve this bishop and then queen b7, putting pressure on the long diagonal. My knight on a5 I'm not so happy about because it's only attacking the b3 pawn. It's not doing more than that. So it's just a one move thing. Well, it makes his pieces occupied, so if you gotta go rook b1, knight d2, you only need one piece to defend the b3 pawn. I don't understand exactly why rook b1. Maybe he was afraid that I would take on f3 at some point. I'm not sure. Not quite sure about that. Anyway, I have improved my bishop and the queen on the long diagonal. Now this bishop on g7 is alright. What is rook b2? Yeah, it's a bit puzzling how white is playing, but I don't have time, so maybe I just need to focus on playing fast. Is f6 a very weakening move? Feels like, but I gotta go. I think I should do something forced, so I'll go for it, even though probably it is not a good move. I want to do something that opens up the position. He didn't take on f6, so I couldn't pre-move. Now if I capture on e5, knight takes e5. Yeah, it's better for me to have the pawn on f5, I think. So I could have played f5 immediately as well. It's a very close position. I wonder how I'm gonna crack this. How I'm gonna crack this position. h6, king s7, preparing for g5 somehow. I don't have time. Let's move this bishop. Okay, let's try to push g5. I feel like I could try with g5. Okay, g5. Some attacking ideas. Because his king is on h2, but that's vulnerable. So suddenly I switch to a king side attack. And I think I'm succeeding. Shall I pre-move? I gotta pre-move bishop takes. I gotta pre-move it. But of course he doesn't take. I cannot take on h4, right? And well, I'm not winning it yet, but this is looking so suspicious. Actually, oh, I think I can take. And then I take on g2. Have I calculated well? I hope so. Yeah, queen takes g2, rook h4. Okay, I have no time, but finally I calculated well one line. And next move, rook g8. I think I am winning already because I'm winning. Oh, I don't have to give up that rook. This is much better. And next move, I'm gonna take the queen with the queen. So I'm gonna pre-move that. That's a nice pre-move, right? Mate. Mate pre-move! Mate pre-move! Mate pre-move! I have never done a mate pre-move, I think, in my life. Thank you so much for the game, you two. This has been very exciting. I think you played well, a little passive, but you fought very well and you defended everything until you let me push g5. So here the crucial point. This is a very close position. And it's difficult to play close positions because at some point, if your opponent or you manages to prepare a way of opening the position, that can change everything. So here it looks like it's all a draw, right? We don't have a way to attack anything. Everything is closed. There's no play. And then I start preparing for g5. So at the moment, white is protecting the g5 square with 2 pawns and the knight. I need a lot of pieces to be able to push g5, right? I need bishop f8, bishop e7, rook h8. I need all those moves, and I'm doing it. So it was very clear that I'm preparing for g5. I think you should realize by these signs, I'm leaving these hints, that my bishop is going to e7, my rook is going to h8. Something is going on. You gotta pause here, and you should stop repeating moves, because before that, when the position is closed and no one is doing anything, then it's okay to go back and forth. But if your opponent starts preparing for something serious and something concrete, because the problem here is that this is very concrete, and you should stop and think, because you had time. Mewtwo, I think it's only about time management. Don't go this quick, but take time in the critical moment. And this was a critical moment, because I am threatening g5. It's a big threat. With the king on h2, this is very serious already. You gotta move the king away from the h file, king g1. And then when I push g5, you are taking the pawn. So at least I would need to sacrifice it. Maybe even like this, it's okay. Or I can prepare it further with rook a2, g8. And now look at my rooks. My rooks are on the king side, ready to push g5. And your rooks on b2 and b1 are unemployed. They are not doing anything. You wish you were able to play rook f2, rook f1, bring them close to the king. I mean, you can play rook f1, but then still the rook on b2 is not doing anything. So Maybe it was a bit too late already, because I'm gonna go rook g8 and g5 anyway, and I think black has quite a lot of attack now with the 2 rooks, 2 bishops, and the queen. My only piece that's not attacking is the a5 knight, but that keeps your pieces tied to the b3 pawn. So all my pieces are ideally placed right now. And that's because you gave me time. Don't let me do this. You should act faster. And maybe the first moment to act was when I pushed f6. So whether I go f6 or f5 immediately, I could have played f5 immediately. But when I push f6, perhaps you should come out of your comfort zone of having this very close position and think that this trade, the trade of these pawns, is something that favors you. I was reluctant to push the f pawn because it weakens my pawn chain. My pawn on e6 is weak, it's vulnerable. You get the e5 square as well. You can jump to e5 either now or prepare it. But certainly I think taking on f6 is something that was beneficial for white. Knight e5, bishop takes g2, queen takes, king takes. That could be a trade, and then I take on e5. So maybe you don't want to do it immediately. You can play rook e1 first, just to make sure that the moment you play, for instance, I'm just going for an example. The moment you play knight e5, you want to make sure that after the trades, if we trade everything, you still are able to take back with a piece on e5. You want to make sure when there's a weak pawn, like the pawn on e6, that's an isolated weak pawn, you don't want to cover that pawn. You don't want black to not suffer on the semi-open e-file. That's why I would not play knight e5 immediately, because that could lead to this trade. And then the moment I take on e5, you are obliged to take back with the pawn. Maybe it's still okay, but why go for this when you can leave me with the e6 pawn? So this would change the pawn structure. My e6 pawn is hidden because of the e5 pawn. It's less vulnerable, and your e5 pawn is a target for me too. Knight c6, rook f8, rook f5. So I would have played, first of all, I would have played e takes f6, get rid of my pawn, and then rook e1, knight e5. I think white is okay here. The b2 rook is still mysteriously placed, but maybe you will have time, you should have time for rook b2, b1 and bring it back toward the center. Thank you everyone for tuning in today. I hope that you have enjoyed today's show. I hope that those of you who played against me, you had fun playing. Those of you who were here as viewers, I hope that you had fun watching. And I shall see you... Oh, actually, no. I was going to say I'm going to see you next Wednesday, but I'm not here next Wednesday. I'm going to skip the next couple of sessions because I'm traveling. Most of October I will be traveling, but make sure to follow my social media because I will be doing other shows and I will cover events. I'm going to be broadcasting first from Judith Polgar's Global Chess Festival, that's next week. And then I'll be the commentator together with Grandmaster Daniel King at the Isle of Man International. So those are my 2 next events. And before I go, I have some more shows coming up. So if you follow me on social media, you will see the updates on that, as well as my new YouTube video. I have published the YouTube video just a few hours ago, so make sure to check it out if you want to see a new 57-second content. I basically made a music video about the mini holidays I had with Alexandra Botes, one of my good friends from Twitch, Alexandra, and that's my latest video. Also, I'm planning to have another video about September's highlights from my Twitch channel, and a 3rd video about chess biking in Amsterdam. That's also with Alexandra. So those are my videos that's coming up on my YouTube channel in the next days, hopefully. I shall edit them first. But if you follow me, if you subscribe to my channel, you will be notified. My channel is Anna Rudolf, just my name, Anna Rudolf. Look for channel Anna Rudolf. That's my YouTube space. Thank you everyone. Enjoy tomorrow's broadcast about the Chess Olympiad. Root for your teams. It's still not over. It's still not decided who's going to win. Neither the open section nor the women's section is still wide open. So root for your teams. And if you're watching on YouTube, hello YouTube. Hello everyone. Leave the comments below if you want to, if you like this video, and if you didn't like, also you can leave comments. I might or might not read them. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I always appreciate people who respect others, whether it's among each other or toward the streamer, the commentator. So respect, have a great week, and I'm going to see you on my other platforms and on my YouTube channel. See you. Bye-bye.